Welcome to this weekend's Shred the Spread Soccer Best Bets show. Let's get into the best bets across EPL, La Liga, Serie A, and the Bundesliga. We'll look at 8 different games spread over 3 different parlays. Let's get into it and be sure to help out the channel. Give the video a like, subscribe if you find this information helpful and want to see more videos on different leagues. We'll also cover the FA Cup and MLS bets and other videos this weekend as well. Also, check out the summary of the picks at the end of the video. Click the link in the comments, signupexpert.com/shredthespread to get some great bonus offers at different sports books. Starting on Saturday in the German Bundesliga, touch on 3 games here. Dortmund and Kiel. Kiel's relegation fate was sealed last week. They're definitely going down, and they've only had 2 wins across 10, 3 wins across 17. But the 2 wins were recent as they made a late push to try to get their survival. They usually put on a show even when they lose. They have scored in 10 of 11. Both teams to score bets have gone 9-1 in the last 10. With 54 points and sitting in 5th, Dortmund could still jump Freiburg to 4th, draw level with Frankfurt in 3rd. So this game is definitely huge for their Champions League progress. They've been on a tear in recent weeks, only losing once across their last 9 games. They're undefeated in 6. They won each of their past 5 games. They've been piling up the goals in that time with wins of 3-1, 3-2, 3-2, 4-0, and 4-2. They've scored multiple goals now in 8 of the last 9. Dortmund have the second most points in the last 15 rounds of the Bundesliga and the most over the last 10, so they're definitely one of the hottest teams in the league. Kiel have easily allowed the most goals in the league, 77. That's even 10 more than Bochum's 67. When these teams last met, it was Kiel, though, piling up the goals, winning in a 4-goal explosion where they won 4-2. This time, I think it should be Dortmund winning by at least 2 or 3 goals. To add some value, we can include Jurassic props. During this run for Dortmund, he has goals in 5 straight games, a total of 8 in that time, plus 2 assists. Go back further. He has multiple shot attempts in 5 straight, and 7 of 8, multiple shots on target. And 4 of the last 5, he's had at least 1 on target now in 8 straight. So let's create a same-game parlay for leg 1 of this overall parlay at Bet365. Dortmund to win over 2.5 goals in the game, so whether they get 3 on their own or Kiel contribute, which they might do, they usually score. So Dortmund to win over 2.5 and Sergi Guirassy to have 1 or more shot on target for leg 1. Number 2, Freiburg and Eintracht Frankfurt. The 2 teams above Dortmund meet here. 3rd Frankfurt, 57 points. 4th Freiburg, 55. Freiburg more at risk of dropping out of the top 4, so this is a huge game for them. And a win would tie their all-time record for the highest finish, hitting 3rd place in the Bundesliga. Certainly not impossible, though, for Dortmund to erase the goal difference between themselves and Frankfurt as well. So Frankfurt also needs to get something out of this game. Freiburg has been a model of consistency now for months. They've lost only twice in 14 games, while being 4-1-0 in their past 5. While Freiburg has scored multiple goals in 4 of 5, they've also given up at least 1 in 7 of 8. Naturally, the both teams to score has gone 7-1 in those games. Frankfurt hasn't been quite as good despite their higher seeding. They've only lost 3 times in 12 games, though, but they also have just 1 win in 5 and 2 in their last 9. They've not lost in any of 4 games with a 0-0 draw, 4-0 win, and then 1-1 and 2-2 draws. Away from home, though, they've not won in 4 games. They have 3 straight draws, though. They only have 2 road wins in 10, so betting on road wins for Frankfurt not necessarily been a profitable endeavor. In January, it was 4-1 for Frankfurt, and the game prior to that was 3-3. Both teams to score bets have hit in 5 of 6 and 8 of the last 10 between them. As good as Freiburg has been, they may finish as the first team in Bundesliga history in the top 4 to have a negative goal differential, so defense has certainly been an issue. I think with all that said, we can bet on a goal coming from both teams to score. Finally, RB Leipzig and Stuttgart. Likely the best that RBL can finish is going from 7th to 6th, grabbing a Conference League spot if they get a result, and they better whatever Mainz does this weekend, who are 6th, just above them, also with 51 points. Stuttgart have nothing on the line except a potential move from 9th to 8th. These teams have met twice, once in the league, a 2-1 Stuttgart win, and then also in the Pokal, a 3-1 Stuttgart win. The both teams to score over 2.5 has gone 5-0. The both teams to score alone 6-0, and simply bets on over 1.5 have gone 9-0 in the recent meetings between them. Leipzig don't come in good form. 0 wins in their last 4, only 2 wins in 8. Their last 4 games have been a 1-1 draw, 4-0 loss, and draws of 3-3 and 0-0. Last week's 0-0 with Bremen could have easily seen plenty of goals, though, and that was their first clean sheet in 7 games. For Stuttgart, they only have 4 wins in 13, but they have won their past 2 games, 1-0 and 4-0, and they've now scored in 6 of 7. I think this is tough to call. Both teams are missing several defenders this week, so we could very easily see some goals. Neither are in good form. Leipzig are the home team. They have a little bit more on the line. If I'm going to pick a winner, I would certainly lean their way, but I'm going to simply just throw a very, very simple 2 or more goals into this parlay to bring it up to even money. One other option, you could look at Benjamin Sesko. He's registered at least 1 shot on target in 5 of 6 games and 8 of 11, so that could be another leg to throw in if you want to bump the parlay up from even money to about plus 134. That could be an option. The final bet, though, over 1.5, Leipzig and Stuttgart, and then both teams to score, Freiburg and Frankfurt, with the Dortmund win over 2.5 and Jurassic to have 1 or more shot on target, coming in at minus 103. Number 2, moving into Sunday, Brentford Fulham. We're going to the EPL. Brentford can drop from 8th, but they can't move up, so it's all about going out on a high to end the year and in their final home game. The Bees have won 4 straight, combined score of 11-5, and they're undefeated in 6 with just 3 losses in 14. Meanwhile, Fulham, 11th, they could drop to 12th or rise to as high as 8th and actually pass Brentford, but they've been poor down the stretch at 2-0-6 in their past 8 back-to-back losses in recent weeks, so it doesn't look like they're trying to end the season on a high. It was 2-1 Fulham at Craven Cottage in November. It was 0-0 before that, but that was a rare low-scoring meeting between these teams that are West London rivals. There's been 3 or more goals in 5 of the past 6 games between them. Johan Wissa has 5 shots and 1 on target in his last game. If we look at his last 5 games, he's had 16 shots, 8 on target, with at least 1 on target in each of the last 5. Brentford to score, Wissa to have 1 or more shot on target would be a minus 200 same game parlay leg. Brentford are also highly favored for the win, given each team's form. If you were picking a winner, I'd have to go to Brentford at home, but we will do Brentford simply to score, Wissa to have a shot on target for leg 1 of a 2-leg EPL parlay. Next up, Arsenal, Newcastle. Arsenal are second with 68 points, followed by Newcastle in third with 66, then Man City with 65 in fourth, Chelsea with 5th with 63, and Aston Villa just behind in 6th with 63 as well. So neither of these teams are still 100% sure they're going to finish in the top 5, meaning there's something on the line for both. The Magpies have had the Gunners number this season. They won 1-0 in the EPL, then 2-0 and 2-0 in the Carabao Cup. At one point, Arsenal had not lost in 12 games, but after a 2-2 draw with Palace, they lost 1-0, 2-1, and 2-1, and they had a 2-2 draw with Liverpool last week. That now makes them winless in 5, and they've given up multiple goals in 4 of their last 5, but they've still scored a goal in 14 of 15. It's the opposite for Newcastle. They've suffered defeat just 1 time now in 10 games, being 8-1-1, outscoring their opponents 24-9. They've scored in 11 straight. I'm going to bet on that continuing, but Arsenal are at home. They desperately want to at least finish second, so let's bet on goals coming from both here. Arsenal and Newcastle, both teams to score, paired with the Brentford to score and Wissa shot on target. That'll come in at plus 124 in that 2-gamer in the EPL. And finally, 3 more games here. We'll go to La Liga and Serie A on Sunday. Barcelona and Villarreal. Barca wrapped up the title on Thursday, beating Espanyol 2-0. Barca's now scored multiple goals in 6 straight games. Villarreal, meanwhile, coming in 5th, holding on to that final Champions League spot, with Betis trailing behind with 59 points. Villarreal likely have the spot on lock, but they could technically still slip out of the top 5 if they lose their final 2 games and Betis win both of their remaining games. Barca won 5-1 when these teams met earlier. Last year the scores were wild, 4-3 and 5-3, 1 for Barca, 1 for Villarreal. I would have loved to bet on a ton of goals in this game if Barcelona needed it, but now they don't need the win. The atmosphere, though, should still be a party atmosphere, so you still think they're going to score. I'm going to assume there's going to be some squad rotation, but they're at home. They clinched the title. I also think they're going to want to put on a bit of a show playing at home as well. If we look over to Villarreal, they've won 4 straight, 1-0, 4-2, 1-0, and 3-0. They're 6-2-1 in their past 9. I would expect them to score. Barcelona usually gives up the goals on the best of days. Now with nothing on the line, I would expect that to continue. On the road, though, for Villarreal, they've given up a goal in 18 of 20. So let's go back to the first thought. Let's bet on some goals. At least both teams to score. It's probably going to be more, but we'll go both teams to score. Next up, Roma, AC Milan. 6 Roma have 63 points. They're sitting in a Conference League spot. They can still easily jump their way to the top 4, with Lazio and Juve also just having 64 points, 1 point each. Milan are in 8th. Technically, they can also jump to 4th, but they have 60 points, so it's looking much less likely. Roma will be the more rested team, having been off since Monday. Meanwhile, Milan got shut out in the Coppa Italia final, losing 1-0 to Bologna on Wednesday. These teams have played twice, a 1-1 draw in Serie A and a 3-1 Milan win in the Coppa. The both teams' score has hit in 11 of the past 12 and 14 of the past 16. Now, recently, Roma also lost their last game, that being on Monday 2-1 to Atalanta. That snapped a run of 7 games undefeated and gives them only 2 losses across 17. It did, though, keep a streak going of them scoring. They've now scored a goal in 21 straight games across all competitions. Giving up 2 goals to Lecce is just the second time in 13 games that they've given up more than a single goal. So despite a lot of both teams to score trends between these teams, most Roma games very tight. Milan went into the final having won 4 straight, and they too haven't lost often, just 3 losses in 12. They've scored in 15 of 17 themselves, but given up a goal in 13 of 16. Roma's games, like we said, always tight. I would think there was somewhat of a letdown from Milan after losing in that final, so I would lean to a Roma win. Certainly going to expect Roma to score for leg 2 of this parlay. And we'll round it out with Lecce and Torino. Not a good game on paper at all, and I'm hoping that it's not a good game at all. With 2 games to go, 4 points away from 10th, 11th, Torino is unlikely to finish in the top half of the table, if that even matters to them right now. Lecce are 18th, 28 points, 1 point back of 17th Venezia to get safety and not be relegated, so certainly has more on the line for them. But then again, all their matches for weeks now have had plenty on the line, and they still haven't won a game in any of their last 13. The closest they've come is 3 1-1 draws across their last 11. Only once in 13 have they scored more than a single goal. They haven't been getting blown out, though. There's been a lot of unders in Lecce games. In their last 13, there's only been more than 3 goals once, and recent scores have been 1-1, 1-0, and 1-1. Over to Torino. They've only won 1 of 7 themselves, 0 of their past 3, and they've been shut out in 2 of those 3 as well. There's been under 3 goals in each of their past 8 games as well. When these teams met in September, it was 0-0. Other recent scores, 2-0, 1-0, 2-0, and 1-0. All Torino wins. Torino is the highest under 2.5 team in Serie A, going 26-10 to the under. Lecce, 21-15 to the under. If we bump that up to 3.5, Torino's 28-8, Lecce 27-9. I think the options are under 3.5, under 2.5, or maybe even a draw. For the parlay, we'll go under 3.5 to be safe. Under 3.5, Lecce, Torino, Roma to score, and Villarreal and Barcelona both to score, coming in at plus 105. Those will wrap up my 8 different games for this weekend's soccer predictions. Be sure to share what you're betting this weekend in any of the top leagues or any other leagues down there in the comments, and good luck this weekend.